Hi guys, how you doing? I'm on time for once tonight. No technical difficulties. Managed to get my laptop working correctly. Hopefully the sound's all right. I'm sure at some point something will go wrong, but do you know what? For now, I'm here. Hey, happy days. Um, I'm cold. Anybody else cold? I know I'm speaking mainly to the Scottish people here, but those of you who are watching from other parts of the world are probably having heat waves right now. In Scotland, it is absolutely peeing it down outside, and I am this close to putting the heating on. That's how cold I am. I've got my jumper on, and I'm cold, but all right. Um, you didn't come to hear me whinge about the weather. Before I get into the crafting, which is what I'm about to do straight away, I just want to let you know that if you order from Stampin' Up today, tomorrow, or Friday, you get double the rewards. So you're already getting 10% rewards when you place an order of £25 or more. But for the next 3 days, so today, tomorrow, and Friday, you will get 20% instead of 10%. So that's a really, really good deal. It finishes at 10 p.m. on Friday. Okay, so anything you're wanting, make sure you get your order in before then. Right, let's jump to it. You see, again, I think I need the light on here, don't I? Because it's too dull otherwise. Let's brighten this up. Okay, I left these cards out. These were the ones that we made last week. And you'd be thinking, Emma, is it just because you haven't tidied your desk since last week? And you might be right. But these cards, I had so much fun making them that I am going to be doing something very similar at my next team gathering, which is a virtual one. So I've got a whole stack of pieces of pattern paper that I used to make these ones, and I've cut them to the right size, and I'm going to put them out in the post to my team. So if any of my lovely team are watching, hey Margaret, glad you're here. If any of my lovely team are watching, that's going to be coming out in the post to you shortly. But when I was chopping them all up, I ended up with these off-cut pieces. And I thought, oh, I should just bin these because, you know, you end up with so many offcuts. And then I thought, no, I have an idea. I know what I'm going to make with them. So today's cards, I've got two. Let's start with the two ideas that I've got, and then we can kind of take it from there to see if I'm going to do things any differently. So, starting off with my A4 card, and I'm going to cut this at 14.3 by 10. And I'm going to do two of these because this is going to be just big enough to fit onto a standard C6 card blank. In fact, I'm not just going to do two, I'm going to do four. So these are 14.3 pieces. Yes, I am bidding these little offcuts. I would have so many of them otherwise. Come on, I'm not the only one who keeps loads of scraps and then needs to be rescued from their scrap mountain, am I? Hey Linda, glad you're here. Right, so I have got 4 pieces of basic white, which are the size just to kind of fit on the top of a card blank with a little bit around the edge. Next, I am going to take these off-cut pieces, of which I have several, and I'm gonna put the wider ones just down for a second, and I'm going to sort these into the different colorways because obviously they're double-sided. So I've got 6 different double-sided options. I might not do everything because the black and the white is nice, but yeah, I'm thinking about how I'm going to do this. But the first step is just sorting out my little scraps. Honestly, if I hadn't been cutting up the whole pack, and that's what I did, by the way, I cut up the whole pack of designer series paper into the sizes that I need for my cards, and that's when I ended up with all these little scraps. I think if I had just been doing like ad hoc one or two, I probably wouldn't have kept these little bits. I probably would have just binned them, because otherwise you just end up with so many scraps, don't you? Right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with this scrap here, and I'm going to put my Tombow glue on the back, and then you see already I've put too much glue on there. Let's just stick it down. Okay, I'm just going to wipe off that bit that's over the edge there. I have just stuck down one of my scraps. Okay, then I'm going to take another scrap and I'm going to stick that, and I want to kind of do it at right angles-ish. So let's be a little bit less generous with the glue this time. I'm going to put it there. Oh, now, you see? That's got a bit of an edge there. I actually don't want to have that. Right, so this is going to have a wider gap than I had planned, but that's okay, because I have an idea. Have an idea. Trust the process. Okay, so, and if you get glue in places that you didn't want glue, use your handy rubber to get rid of it. I was crafting, I think I told you this last time, crafting with my niece, and we got very gluey, and there was glue going everywhere. And so I kept telling her, you know, this is paper, it will do your bidding. And now I've just made exactly the same mistake myself. Too much glue ends up a mess, and you need an eraser just to get rid of it. You do get like actual glue erasers that you can use, but to be honest, normal erasers work fine as well. Right, next I'm going to take another piece of my DSP and I'm going to stick that on there. There we go. Easy on the glue, Emma. Don't use too much of it this time. There we go. Next, let's use this. I've done a few of these kind of strip cards before. I'm doing this fairly quickly because I have a couple of different variations that I want to show you. So I don't want to spend too much time kind of getting... Plus it's boring for you, just watching me stick on strips. If this was a reel, this would be the bit where they would speed it up and do something snazzy. Anybody else watch a lot of reels? Watch some. There's lots of lovely crafters out there for inspiration, which is cool. I have even tried making some reels myself. I'm not very good at it, but hey, everyone's got to start somewhere, right? There we go. We're getting the hang of this now. You can see here I've got all these off-cut bits. Hey Julie, glad you're here. I'm going to trim along these just now because I'm going to use some of these bigger pieces for the smaller bits there. So let's just take my scissors. And again, another reason why I don't want too much glue on them. There we go. And then these, I can use the reverse as well. Let's see, I know I've got one that's kind of like got a pinky background. There we go. Let's put that on there. One of the things, I don't know if you notice, I'm kind of positioning it and then picking it up with my finger where the edge is, and then only putting glue on the top bit. That way, in theory, I don't end up with too much glue on the overhang bit. Right, let's do, say that a wee bit closer to the bottom. What about this piece? Actually, let's do that side of it again. That's pretty. I'm taking it right to the corner because I want to fill this whole piece. Use this. Will I fit that piece on? Yeah. No. Let's do the yellow. I think it's prettier. For that last piece, I'm going to put the glue onto the card base and stick it on like that. There we go. How has everybody been? You been up to much crafty activities? What's been your favourite thing to do this week? Let me know in the comments. Right, next I want to do some more along here. So let's put this one. I'm going to turn it around to make it easier for me, because I like an easy life. Where possible, make life easy on yourself. There we go. Then, oh, will that fit on? It will, and it'll actually fit right the way to the edge. Ooh, that's a clever way to do it. Taking it slightly off the edge because it wasn't 100% right, but it's fine. Let's take those pieces. Knitting yourself a jumper, Julie. That sounds very impressive. Made by Marlee. Hello again. Glad you're here. We are using offcuts of designer series paper today to piece them together and make what is hopefully going to be a cute card. Wait and see when I'm finished. There we go. What colour is your jumper, Julie? Is it a single colour of wool, or is it one of these variated wools? I will confess to having dabbled in knitting but not being very good at it. My mum used to knit, still does knit, but she knitted me loads of jumpers when I was a kid, and I loved them. And some of my favourite ones were like big chunky woolen knits. There was a purpley one, like a purpley pinky gradiated kind of colour. It was really cool. Right, so I've got my strips going this way, my strips going this way, and now I need to fill in this bit as well. And again, I was thinking of carrying it down along this way like that. So let's kind of start with that big one in the middle. Oh, I should have used the yellow side. That's fine. I can do that with another strip. will fit on perfectly. You love crochet. Ah, again, I am not very good at crocheting. I've done little bits of it. Your jumper is blue-grey, Julie. That sounds lovely. It's like, I was going to say sea colours, because when I picture the sea, it's usually kind of like a blue-grey kind of shade. Unless you're on holiday, and then it's a fabulous, like, turquoise shade if you're somewhere fancy in the Mediterranean or the Caribbean or somewhere like that. But no, in Scotland, the sea is very much blue-grey. Right. Will that piece go on there? It will. This becomes a bit like a jigsaw. I've been watching a lot of reels on jigsaws recently, and it's kind of inspiring me to pull out. I do have some fabulous jigsaws that I really should pull out and have a play with. I have jigsaws that are from books that I love. I'm a big fan of an author called Terry Pratchett. Anybody who knows me knows I love Terry Pratchett. And I've got some jigsaws based on his books. But I've also got some Lego jigsaws as well, which I keep meaning to have a play with. The problem with jigsaws is that you need desk space. And my desk space is usually always taken up with crafting stuff. So that's something I would like to do. I suppose this card is a bit like a jigsaw, kind of piecing the pieces together, putting the pieces together. Series of cards for Kendra's Cards Challenge. I'm now doing a junk journal challenge for Dear Julie Julie. That sounds cool. Journaling is one of these things I would like to be better at. I kind of start that from time to time, and then, you know, my journals are always like the first 2 or 3 pages are done and then nothing else. And then I get a new notebook and I want to start all over again. I love me some stationery. And washi tape. Am I the only one who's got a washi tape addiction? I feel like there should be a support group for, you know, people who are addicted to washi. Puzzle on your dining room table. That sounds like a good idea. My dining room table is relatively clear. The problem is I don't have lights in that room. Some of you will know that my craft room ceiling came tumbling down and we had to do a whole craft room renovation off the back of it. I say have to. I ended up with a stunning craft room off the end of the back of it. But one of the issues that we had was our fancy smart lighting thing that we had in my craft room got damaged, and we're having trouble getting the replacements from the supplier. I really should chase that up again. So what we did in the short term is we swapped out our lights from the dining room to put it into my craft room, because I spend more time in the craft room than we do in the dining room. So it does mean that in that room right now I don't have a ceiling light, I just have lamps. And while that's fine for, you know, ad hoc stuff, and if we've got people over, or if we've got for dinner or guests or stuff like that, but I think if I was doing a jigsaw puzzle, especially as we're starting to get into that darker time of the year, I think having good lighting is really important. Right, nearly finished. This is coming together. Didn't take that long if you think about it. I suppose if I'd used the thicker strips, the bigger strips, then it would have been faster. But I have a plan for them. I'm going to do them on my second one. You love washi as well. Fabulous. You are in a good place then. I love washi. In fact, I made a card recently because Stampin Up brought out a new washi tape, and it's one of the ones that's got the dies to match it. In fact, it was on my desk. Have I tidied it away? Seems very unlike me to tidy up too much. I must have done because I don't see it. But yeah, summer washi tape with like sunglasses and ice cream and things like that. Right, so there we go. So those are all my little strips that I've put together onto my background. And now my plan is to do a sentiment. This starting bit here that I did, that got a bit gluey, I'm actually going to cover, I was going to say I'm going to cover some of it up with ribbon. I have that piece of ribbon, remember, that we used last week that then we ended up not putting on a card. I'm just going to stick that over there. It's the same shade of blue. It's my hydrangea hue. When in doubt, stick it out. Let's just stick this down over the top. Ta-da! Perfect. Let's get some more of that tear tape. Just turn it around the edge. Turn it around at the back. I could trim it, but if I fold it over, then there's less chance of it fraying. There we go. Right. There we go. And now for my card blank. You know what? I've got some thick basic white here. Oh, there's the washi tape. You didn't think I'd put it away. Here you go. So this is the thick washi tape that Stampin' Up brought out this summer. That's got like flip-flops and sunglasses and flowers and stuff like that. And it's got the die that cuts out as well. So you can have the washi tape straight on your project, or you can use the die to cut out all these different things, which is quite cool. Right, card blank. Let's score at 10.5. And then going to cut at 14.8 to get 2 card blanks. These are standard C6 sizes, UK measurements here, because we're using A4 cardstock. And so then we're going to stick this on the top. Do I want to do it that way or that way? I think that way is going to be nicest. Hey Jean! Better late than never is practically my family motto, so do not worry, you're in very good company here. Right, I'm thinking about sentiments, and my plan was to use the banner sayings sentiments. Let's see. I was wondering which. Oops, and now I'm dropping things. Just, I was thinking about using one of the larger punches, but actually one of the smaller ones might work just as well. I know what I'm going to do. Right, going to get some scrap white for my sentiment. I really need to sort out my little offcuts. That might be my plan for after this video. And if I have a quick look at the colours, I think Misty Moonlight is the one that's going to go nicest. Oh, right. So let's go for this. What sentiment are we in the mood for? Oh, sorry guys, delivery. I'll be right back. Right, sorry about that. Half the delivery drivers want to just drop it at the door and they don't even ring the bell. But this one wanted to chat. Okay. Let's do this as a thank you card. I can't thank you enough. Stamp that. So this is my Misty Moonlight ink, and then I'm going to cut it out. You see, I want it in that direction. There we go. Right. Pro tip, if you have cut it the wrong size, the wrong dimension, I'm just going to use this little bit of scrap. And even then I was daft to use the DSP. I should have used some of the basic white that I had from earlier, but I'm going to add that on, just line this up. Can't thank you enough. I'm going to leave a tiny bit at that side so I can do a bit of bling. You know I love my bling. And then I want Misty Moonlight cardstock. And here's my thinking. If I use this rectangle that I used last week, you see again, I don't want the whole rectangle. Let's glue this on. About there. You may be thinking, Emma, what are you doing? You've gone mad. And maybe I have, but no more mad than usual. Let's get my little tail piece again. Right, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to line it up with the top. Like that. You see? There we go. So now I've got a smaller oval on my sentiment. I'm going to put that about there with a bit of bling. My in colour butterfly. Kind of feel like I should have done hydrangea hue for the sentiment and the cardstock now, but it's still nice with the Misty Moonlight. There's my card blank. Put that off to one side. So now let's stick this all down. A bit of tear tape that I used just to hold down the ribbon. Going to peel that off as well. Dry more of the glue, and then let's line that onto my card blank. Down from the other side. That way I don't risk catching any of those little strips. And then remember the other day I said I was using up my scraps at the edges. Let's do that. Forget my sentiment. I'm going to put it about there. There we go. So that is my offcuts card made with all of those little strips and my banner saying sentiment in the center. I can't thank you enough. Okay, so that is the first card that I had in mind, but I do have a second variation. Actually, I have 3 different variations that I was going to try. Needs a bit of squish. And I do still have some scraps left over, so let's give this a shot. I'm making a right mess here. Okay. This one is going to be basically a combination of the card that I've just done and a card that I did a while back, because I think this is going to work. So let me give it a shot. I am going to use the strips that I've got plus this stamp set here, Bordered in Beauty. Do you remember me sharing this? It's one that I used with the in colours, and it was one of the first stamp sets that I got when the new catalogue came out. It was one that I saw demonstrated at On Stage, and I thought, why don't I had done a card. I was looking to see if I could see it on my desk. Oh, there it is. Ha! How about that? So this was a card that I did on a live before, where I used these stamps to stamp and do a strip card like that. And then I thought, what if I stamped strips and used paper strips? So basically a mashup of these 2 cards. That's what I'm going to try and do. So in terms of colours, I am going to get my hydrangea hue, and then I want to find whatever colour that is. I think it's probably Calypso Coral. Yeah, it is. So let's get my Calypso Coral. Let's get my hydrangea hue. What other colours are in this one? Peaceful Pine. Don't want to use too many colours. The yellow is Darling Duckling, which I know people find a bit controversial. Let's just stick with that, I think, for just now. So I'm going to get my long one here. Let's put this back, or else I'm really going to start getting a guddle. So, and I'm going to start off with this rainbow one, which I think is quite cool. See, when you've got a strip like this, the photopolymer stamps, they are really good because you can bend them and you can make them kind of like curve round if you want to, but sometimes you just want it straight, and when you put them on your block it can end up a bit squint. So my tip for doing that is just put the stamp flat on your grid paper on your desk and then press it down onto the block, and then that way it will end up straight. So I'm going to start off with, I think, Calypso Coral Rainbows. And actually, if I look at this, I think that's what I did here. Although, is that Calypso Coral or is it Crisp Cantaloupe? I think it was previously Crisp Cantaloupe, but that's not one of the colours in the DSP. Let's stick to the plan, Emma. Stick to the plan. And I'm going to start randomly in the middle of the card. I'm going to extend that out to that side. Then I'm going to turn it around at right angles and do it across this way here. There we go. So I've got there, I've got there. Should I have done it that way around? It's too late. Actually, it's not too late. Do anything I want. Let's do them round this way as well. Make them almost like O's rather than rainbows. That's quite funky. Let's do the same at the bottom. I like that. There we go. Right. Let's clean that off. Right, so then next I'm going to put some designer series paper. Let's put that piece over there, and then, because then that will just go to the edges, and then this one I'm going to put, see it's not big enough to go all the way to the edge there, so let's choose this piece to go all the way to the edge there. I'm going to build this one up a bit more gradually than I did the other one. It's going to need a little bit of planning. Also, I am running out of strips. I did use a lot of strips on the first card. So this one's probably going to have more stamping than strips. But that's okay. There we go. And let's put along the top there, like that. Next, let's do, see what's on the other side of this. This little tiny little hydrangea hue flower, which is going to go on there. Let's see, I think we're going to do Darling Duckling next. And let's do the dots for the Darling Duckling. The dots are the, yeah, let's do the dots. So you can tell this isn't an ink pad I use very often because it's quite stiff to open. Do you know what, that is quite pretty. Let's do it all the way across. Let's do it here too. I think as yellows go, I do still prefer Daffodil Delight. Although, see, Crushed Curry, that's a yellow I quite enjoy too. Crushed Curry is my go-to Regal's yellow if I want a darker yellow, like a gold. And Daffodil Delight is my kind of like bright yellow. But this one is the yellow that matches the designer series paper, so I think it is right to use it here. So let's do these greeny ones on either side. Oh, that would look nice. There we go. although that's slightly too small. Will it go up here? Not yet. Let's put the blue there, that one there, and see, actually I think that is the answer. Yeah, let's do it. Let's turn that around and do it this way around. Although the flowers are very pretty, I think having the colour just makes it a little bit brighter. Saying that, I am totally going to do the black and white spots at some point. Oops, let's move this up a bit, just realised. Going off camera. So, what was I going to do? This one up here. I am still live. Am I being optimistic? This is live. This is live, Mum, don't worry. Okay, next one from this set. I'm going to do the zigzags. Am I going to do the zigzags? No, I'm going to do this kind of like trellis piece. I need to have better names for some of these. Oh, of course. Here, did you see me? I was ready to start struggling with that ink pad, but it's one of the new ones. And so it literally just popped off straight away. That's what I like. So easy. You're having a break from tidying, Mum. Well done. Looking forward to seeing your achievements. There we go. You're still here and crafting with me. I'm so glad. How would I use up square and rectangle scraps? That's a really good question, Julie. I have got some wider rectangle scraps that I'm going to use in a minute, so I will show you that on the next card. Assuming you're all still here, because I know some people have to drop off after a while, which is fine. Stay as long as you want, go whenever you need to. There's never any pressure. I do like a kind of chilled out atmosphere. I don't want people to feel that they're being pressured into anything. That kind of goes for life in general. Although I don't know if people at my work would believe me when I say that, because sometimes we do have some quite stressful situations to deal with at work. But that's a completely different setting, and not one I'm going to talk about just now. Who wants to talk about work when they're getting to craft? Not me. Is it bad having the two? No. I think I can have my zigzag here as well. Let's put that on there. And now, what pieces? You see, I haven't got very many pieces left. Black and white up at the top. Bit of stamping in between. Needs to have a bit more stamping, doesn't it? Oh, but we need a piece over here. Yeah, let's do that little piece over here. Charity bag and bin bag are filling up. Well done. My lovely friend Jen is also preparing to do some clearing out in her craft room. So sometimes it's got to be done. We need to make space for the new things to come in, or even just make space to breathe. Sometimes we can have too much stuff that it can be very overwhelming. So I want to make sure that we are not overwhelmed. Let's do these little hearts. If I do the hearts, no, if I do the hearts, then there's a right way up and a wrong way up. That's going to annoy me. Let's just do these little scallop pieces. I'm going to do a double row. Why? Because I can. Because I fancied it. Because I think that will look pretty. I'm going to do a couple of little scallops at the end here as well though. There we go. And your order arrives on Friday. That's very good. You only ordered it yesterday, didn't you? Which is very good going, although, as I think I mentioned to you at the time, there's a double rewards promotion which has started today. So if anybody else is thinking of ordering today, tomorrow or Friday, it's absolutely the best time to do it, because then you're going to get those double rewards. And the thing that everybody loves even more than new craft stuff is free craft stuff. Or reduced price craft stuff. We do like our Stampin' Up goodies, but it's even better when we get them at a discount. Right, let's put, I think the dark on there. Hey Ali, glad you're here. Hey, we're getting all the latecomers coming in tonight. You logging on thinking, why is she still here? She's normally finished by this point. Okay, do you know what? I'm going to just abandon all of these tiny little offcuts now. They're all going in the bin. We have done 2 cards with scraps, and I'm actually going to do another one after this with the other bigger bits of scraps. If I start keeping all of these tiny little pieces, I'm going to go insane. So I am putting them in the bin. If you need permission to throw scraps out, I give you that permission. It's something I know I have had struggles with in the past. I always thought I had to keep all of my tiny little offcuts. You don't. You can get rid of them. Do not feel obliged to keep stuff that is not... Like these 2 pieces, they're going in the bin. I'm not going to use them for anything. Whereas that, I now have this whole pattern. Where's my card blank? Let's show you how to bone fold a second ago. Get another one out. Find it when I tidy up. Right. So now that card can go on there. So it's similar to the first one we did, only this one, and it's similar to the one which we did a few weeks ago with the stamping, and this one has now got both strips and stamping on it. Although as I think about it, I'm going to use a darker card blank. Where's my... It's got to be hydrangea hue, doesn't it? Let's get my hydrangea hue and do my card with that. Go insane, you thought I was insane already. If I am, Mum, then it's clearly hereditary. To quote from Alice in Wonderland, we're all mad here. All the best people are just a little bit mad, aren't they? Right, so this is my half of A4. And so that's what it looks like on white, but actually putting onto my hydrangea hue I think is really pretty. Let's just do that. There we go. And you know what? I was thinking it needs a sentiment. Wouldn't it be really handy if I had some sentiments that were all ready just to put on? Remember when I did my hot foil stuff? I've got some sentiments already in here. What have we got? Cheers to you, my heart's with you, I'm so lucky to have you. Do you know what? My heart is with you. And then I think I know what I'm going to do with this card. Let's use some of my Misty Moonlight, which goes lovely with the hydrangea hue. Let's chop this. So I want this to be 8 centimeters. Thereabouts. Let's put this along the bottom. Glue this down. There we go. Sentiment needs a background. Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to there. Let's do a little flag. Easy way to do a flag or a fishtail end is I'm just going to trim from the corners into that halfway mark, just to do a little fishtail like that. And then let's get my dimensionals again. There we go. Peel that piece off. There we go. And then I think I put it center there, and then this time, because I've still got my in color butterflies, but I'm going to put them, I'm going to use the white ones just to kind of touch on some of the colored strips, just to give little touches there. There we go. So that's a mix of stamping and strips. So it's a combination of the first card we did, which was just strips, and the card that we did a while ago, which was just stamping. And so then we've got this mashup, which is kind of both stamping and strips. Okay, if you've got time, stick with me, because I have one last card that I want to make. And I've got the piece cut out here already. Let's put my sentiment over there. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use my adhesive sheets. And I have lots of little scrap bits of adhesive sheets in there, but I actually want a full piece. So I'm going to cut this to 10 centimeters, and then I'm going to stick this on. Right. Taking it right to the edge. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Margaret. Thank you. All this time to watch when I'm on a roll. I am on a roll, Ali. I had an idea in my head for tonight's live, and so far I've done one of them and then I kind of went off piste. I'm just going to trim this down because if I don't, I'm going to end up with glue everywhere. So this, I am sticking that down. So now I have my piece of card that is completely covered. Now I have these larger offcuts and I was going to do similar to the first one with rectangles. But then the lovely Julie asked about what you would do if you had square scraps. So now I'm wondering if I cut some of these up into squares. You could, I mean, do you know what? In the interest of finishing this card before you all fall asleep, I might just stick with what I was going to do, which is using the rectangles, but you could just as easily cut these up into squares and do this card. So I'm just kind of looking to see roughly what it's going to be, because once I pull this tape off, I'm kind of committed. Let's go. So I should move it up so that you can actually see what I'm doing. Or I move the camera so that it's a bit closer to me. There we go. I feel like I'm kind of off the edge of the camera too much. Right, here we go. You've not done any crafting, but you finished a batch of Christmas cards using the stitched stocking bundle. Good for you, Ali. We used that bundle for our Christmas in July class, which, if I say so myself, was a lot of fun, and I think we really enjoyed it. I will post those cards onto my blog and onto my Facebook page, and all of my team will get the measurements and instructions put on the stylus page. Right, peeling this off. You'll take pics and post to the stylus page. Thank you, Ali. I really appreciate that. I love seeing your card designs. Right, let's just go for it. Let's stick that one down here. I'm going to put this one on here. This one's going to go here. Do you remember how I laid all of these out as if, oh yeah, this is totally how I'm going to do these, and then ended up doing something totally different? It's fine. Now you'll see that I am still leaving gaps in between, and you're maybe thinking, Emma, you are remembering that there's a lot of glue still going to be exposed. And I am, but I have a plan. Oh, and you see, I thought there was a comment there, but it's disappeared. Not a problem. Right. Let's put that there. Let's put this one here. So I have filled up pretty much. Let's do a little bit more there. Okay, now where are my scissors? So when you're trimming off the edges, always easier to do it from the reverse. Okay, so don't try and twist your arm round and break your wrist trying to cut in a way that's not straightforward. She's got a plan. I do have a plan. A woman with a plan. Not a man with a plan, a woman with a plan. Right. Just going to say a quick hi to everybody who's watching on YouTube, hi to everybody on Facebook, and hi to everybody watching on Catch Up. And hi to everybody who thought they would log on and watch on catch up and then realise, oh, she's still going. She's still going. Does she realise what time it is? Yes, I do. I actually started pretty much on time tonight as well. I've had quite a lot of technical difficulties over the last few weeks, and so I got on early tonight to make sure I could sort out any technical difficulties. Of course, I shouldn't have said that. That's cue for everything to all of a sudden crash. Right, so that's pretty much full. Just going to again fill some of these little pieces. Let's do that over there, and let's put that one over there. Right. Now you're thinking, Emma, what are you going to do with all of these sticky gaps? Well, square off cuts would look good. Light papers on a dark background, maybe as diamonds. That would look really nice. Okay, what are you doing, Emma? I'm digging out some retired stuff, okay? I know you've all got retired products that are sitting in cupboards. These are our gold flakes. I found them in my drawer the other day. I thought, I still want to use these. These are really good fun. So, I have got my gold flakes in my tub. I am rubbing them onto all of those spaces where there was glue. Let me know in the comments if you've still got gilding flakes, gold flakes, any colour of flakes. Because if you do, you totally need to give this a try. Get those DSP scraps, stick them on your adhesive sheets and gild them up. Now, the one thing you need to be careful with gild flakes, don't sneeze, or else it goes everywhere. To be fair, I'm not sneezing and it's still going everywhere. I'm going to be gold for a month now. But let me tip that off, rub it off. It's got this lovely kind of antique-y look to it now. Haha, there's a bit where the glue came off. Right, see if that's happened. So I've got a space there and a space there. I am going to put some Tombow on those spaces. Going to very, very thin layer of Tombow. Another tiny little bit there, just needs a bit more. A bit there as well. There we go, back in. On the bit where the glue is wet, where it's Tombow rather than adhesive sheet, just being a wee bit more gentle. Can't be quite as rough as I was for the other bits. I'll let it dry, kind of dry on. There we go. Sorted. Let's now put the lid back on that. Why Stampin' Up stopped selling the gold flakes? Yeah, I love them too, Ali. But in the same way as Marks and Spencer stopped selling my favourite dessert, Stampin' Up does things for a season, and then when they're gone, they're gone. So it's one of these situations where if you like it, get it while it's there, because there's no guarantee it's going to be around forever, and you do not want to miss out for good. There we go. I think using the blue background for this is the way to go. And then again, using one of my sentiments. Let's just get this stuck down. glitter would also have looked nice, Linda. You make a very good point. And if you've been playing with the hot foil, you can use your hot foil offcuts as well in these gaps. That would have been another thing that we could have done. But look at that. Pretty shiny. And because I've got these, again, just spotted that I had these butterflies left over from last week's. Let's put the sentiment. I think if we put it on there. Do I want to do it? What do we think? Sentiment angled down like that? Cheers to you. Kind of like a butterfly next to it. Does it need the butterfly? Ooh, we could do the sentiment up there. Or actually, I'm seeing this card as landscape, but see if we made it portrait. Does that work? Lots of good ideas. You have to go, that's fine, Jean. Not glitter. Ali is very much against the glitter idea. Do you know what? I'm going to put it down there. I'm not going to put it at an angle. I think that would be too much. Do I? No, actually, I think it is nice at an angle. Angled. There we go. Ali agrees with me. Angled it needs to be. Oh, but let's put it on with foam pads. You like the butterflies? We did the butterflies last week using a really pretty stamp set and punch. Let's pop them on there like that. Foam pads. Have to have foam pads for butterflies. There we go. And that is our last card. Hey, we've done well tonight. So that one and the envelope was the one from a while back, so that doesn't really count for tonight. But if we consider the cards that we've made this evening, so we've got this one that was the first card, so this is just the strips plus a bit of ribbon because it was sitting on the desk and it was an offcut. Then we did this card second, which uses one of the hot foil sentiments and uses some strips and some stamping using the Bordered in Beauty stamp set. That one there. And then this one, which again was using offcuts and using some of our retired gilded flakes in the gap underneath the adhesive sheets. Again, hot foil for the sentiment and those butterflies. Angled but not in the centre of a strip. Too late, it's already stuck down. But yeah, those are our 3 cards this evening. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed that. Remember what I said about the double rewards. So if you are putting an order in, if there's anything that's caught your eye, then make sure you do it today, tomorrow or Friday before 10 PM UK time to get those double rewards. And as always, if you've got any questions, just get in touch. And yeah, happy craft. Take care. Bye.